decades.
Welcome to the
The
deep
U.S.
dive.
government line
Today,
was basically
we're diving into
supernatural stuff,
really the bedrock
psychic powers,
story
telepathy,
of modern alien
seeing
encounters.
things far away with your mind.
The pure
Betty and
fantasy,
Barney
that's
Hill
what they told
abduction
everyone.
case.
Yeah, that was
September
the public
19,
phase.
1961.
Complete skepticism.
Exactly.
But,
in this single
you know,
event,
while
it
that
didn't
was the
just,
official story,
add
behind
another
closed
UFO
doors,
report to the
something-
files. It completely
something much
changed how
stranger
people
was
thought about
apparently
these
going on.
encounters.
It really
Deep
did. Suddenly you
inside
have
the
these elements of
intelligence
like
community.
medical
It's
checks,
a really interesting contrast,
trauma,
isn't it?
repressed
Publicly, it's all
memory,
scientific
things that just weren't
dismissal.
part of the conversation
Privately,
before.
the Pentagon,
And that's why
the
this
CIA,
is so crucial for you listening.
they're clearly
You're
wrestling with
basically
something
looking at the
very
blueprint,
different. These
the origin
fantasies
story.
suddenly
The
become
Pretty much, yeah.
a serious
This
strategic
one case
issue.
laid down
Exactly.
the pattern for almost
And that
every
worry,
abduction
that sort
story
of
that
creeping
came after,
fear
even
about
like
psychic
the physical
warfare,
look
it leads
of
to
the
one of
beings.
the
great.
honestly
That image
most
starts
bizarre and
crystallizing
top
right
secret
here.
projects of the
So
whole
to
Cold
really
War,
get a handle
Project
on the whole
Sunstreak.
gray
I mean, just picture
phenomenon
an
or
actual
the
government
government's
project
interest,
trying to
you have to
weaponize
start
the
with the
human
hills.
mind.
You
Funded
need
off
to
the
look at it
books.
from all
Totally
sides,
easy.
skeptical,
And officially,
believer,
the cover
conspiracy,
story, or maybe
And
the
the hills
initial idea
themselves,
was
that's a big part of why it
remote
stuck,
viewing.
right? They were
So
normal.
This
Betty was
supposed
a social worker,
Barney
ability
worked for the
to
post
train
office.
people to just a respected
perceive
biracial couple in New
distant
Hampshire,
places,
secret
which
enemy
at that
bases,
time
maybe even peek
already
into
put
the
them
future.
under a bit of a spotlight.
All just
Right.
using their minds.
So for this extraordinary
And we should
story
be clear,
to come
this
from
wasn't
them,
some like side
it just
hobby.
hit
It wasn't just a few
differently.
folks messing
It
around.
wasn't some
This was a
fringe
strategic
group.
move,
Exactly.
a direct
Their ordinariness
response to
made
what
it
they thought
feel
the Soviets were
plausible,
doing. They were urgently
terrifyingly
trying to
so.
get
Like, this
an
could happen
edge
to
in a
anyone,
completely
not
new
just
kind of
out in the desert
battlefield.
somewhere.
And that's what we're doing today.
Yeah,
We're
it
gonna
shattered
peel
that
back those
boundary
layers of
between everyday
secrecy,
life and
really
well,
deep
something else
dive into
entirely.
Project
So
Sunstreak.
our mission today,
and the
Yeah.
kind of wild
unpack the
conspiracy
sources.
theories that are still
How did
swirling
this,
around.
Yeah, because the story goes
deeply
way
personal,
beyond just
traumatic
psychic
thing for
spying.
them
Oh,
get
absolutely.
tangled up.
It might have cracked open the doors to
fear,
alien contact,
and
maybe
maybe
even
cosmic
some
theories.
sources
Okay, let's start at the beginning,
interdimensional
the drive.
conflict.
It
Right.
gets
that
pretty out
night,
there.
drive
It really
home
does.
on a quiet
So we're gonna
New
look at
Hampshire
where it
road.
came
They were
from,
coming
the
back
really
from
unsettling
Canada,
things
Niagara
the viewers
Falls area,
reported
saw
seeing.
light in the sky.
The
Standard
weird
stuff,
overlaps
initially.
with
Could have been a
old
star,
star,
a plane.
and
But
these
then it wasn't
incredible
standard
claims about
anymore. The light
contacting,
got bigger, much
well, the
brighter, and
unknown.
it started moving
So yeah,
in ways that,
settle in.
well,
This is
the
where things
reports
get
say
weird.
defied the
So where
ordinary.
did Sunstreak
Zipping
even
around.
come from?
Darting, hovering,
It really kicks
dropping
off
down
back in the early
fast.
70s. There was this
Things
sort of quiet
Planes in
panic
61
brewing
just didn't do.
in the
And Barney,
intelligence world during the Cold
he was the
War.
skeptic
Right.
at first,
Word
wasn't
got
he?
out
He
that
was,
the Soviets were
but he pulled
pouring
over,
serious
got out the
money and effort into
binoculars,
walked towards
parapsychology.
it.
Yeah,
And
got
not just
close
dabbling.
enough, he
We're talking
claimed, to see
state-sponsored
figures,
experiments,
non-human
telepathy,
figures looking back at
moving
him from
objects with
inside
the
this
mind,
thing.
and that's when the fear
and
really hit
crucially,
him.
remote
Primal
viewing.
fear.
Yeah,
He
and
ran
when
back to
US
the car yelling,
intelligence picked
"They're
up
gonna
on
capture
this,
us!" They sped
alarms
off.
went off.
But they didn't just
Big
drive
time.
away
And the
clean.
Pentagon,
that's the
especially.
next
You can
weird
imagine
part.
the fear, right?
They
What
heard
if this
these
stuff is real?
sounds,
Even if it only
beeping,
gives a small
or
event.
maybe buzzing,
Exactly. The US
described
could be
as
completely
vibrating
blindsided
blindsided
in a car
in a
itself.
conflict
Like
that
physically
doesn't
feeling
use
it.
bombs or spies
And then
in the traditional
nothing.
sense.
So
Suddenly
this
they're
perceived
miles further
threat,
down
this
the road,
potential psychic gap,
confused.
it leads
they
directly to
realized
the
2
CIA starting
hours
Project Stargate.
gone,
Which
just
was kind of
vanished
the
from their
umbrella
memory.
program. And
That
under
missing
Stargate, you
time,
get these
it's the absolute
sub-projects.
core of this,
Project
isn't it?
Sunstreak was one of them.
became
run by
the
Defense
defining
Intelligence
feature, really,
Agency,
the
DIA,
template for
countless
countless through the
abduction reports
1980s.
after that.
Okay,
That specific
so
2-hour
Sunstreak
gap.
gets
that
going.
missing
time,
And
it didn't
on
just sit
paper,
there. It started to
its
fester.
job sounds
Oh yeah, the psychological
almost
impact was
straightforward for
immediate
that
and
world.
severe.
Recruit
Betty
people,
started having
train
these
them as
incredibly
remote
vivid
viewers,
nightmares.
get them to project their
terrifying
consciousness,
ones, strange
basically,
beings,
and
cold
spy on
metal
Soviet
rooms
facilities,
being examined.
gather
While
intel.
Barney, he
Standard
developed
espionage,
severe anxiety,
just with a very
physical symptoms,
unconventional
too.
method.
It was wrecking
But that's not
them.
how it
This
played
wasn't
out,
something
was
they
it?
could
It
just
became clear
brush
pretty
off.
fast
Not at
this
all.
wasn't just about
Which led
finding
them to seek
missile
help.
silos.
No, almost
Eventually,
right
they
away,
ended
the
up with
viewers weren't
Dr.
just
Benjamin
describing,
Simon, submarine
respected
pens or
psychiatrist,
radar
right.
installations. The data
Specialized
start
in
getting
amnesia trauma.
exactly, and
Weird
he
how.
decided
Well, that
the
was
way
the
to
big
get
turning
at
point,
this
really.
missing time
The viewers
was
started
through
reporting
hypnotic
things
regression.
that, based on
those
our normal
hypnosis
understanding of
tapes.
physics and
They're
reality,
legendary
shouldn't
UFO
exist.
Things that shouldn't
Absolutely
exist. Okay,
haunting.
now we're getting
Because
somewhere.
under
Yeah,
hypnosis,
the information they
separately,
were
started
bringing
telling
back
a
was pushing
remarkably
way
similar
past the
story.
boundaries of what
Consistent,
anyone
even though they were
expected.
hypnotized apart.
It
Very
very
consistent.
consistent. Challenged
Both
what the
described being
program
taken
was even
on board
supposed to
some
be
kind of
doing.
craft,
So
being
tell me about these
separated.
viewers.
Examined.
They weren't just random people
Strange
off the
medical
street, right?
procedures.
Yeah.
Many had
and the
military
description
backgrounds.
of
That's
the
right,
beings.
often military
large
personnel.
heads, huge
And they went through
wraparound
this
eyes,
really
small
specific,
noses,
structured
mouths that
training,
barely
uh,
move.
The image was
controlled
born.
protocols
The
was
gray
the term.
alien.
Like coordinate
That
remote
description
viewing
coming
or
out under
CRV.
hypnosis from
CRV,
both
okay.
of them
So it wasn't
really
just
solidified
like
that
closing your
archetype
eyes and
in the
hoping
public
for the
mind.
best.
No,
and
no,
the
very
details
systematic.
of the exam.
They might be given just
Betty
a set of
mentioned a
geographic
needle in her
coordinates
navel,
or maybe a
like a
random number
pregnancy
linked
test.
to a
Yeah,
target.
which is
Then they'd go
fascinating.
through
It
these
shows
stages,
this
sort
blend of like
drilling down,
truly
describing
bizarre
sensory
alien
details,
stuff,
sketching
mixed
impressions,
with something familiar,
trying to
almost
build
clinical.
a picture
Trauma
of a
meets
target they
medicine.
knew nothing about
But the
consciously.
detail that really blew up the
Often
most
something
debated
hidden miles
piece,
away, maybe even
the star
sealed in
map.
an envelope
Yes,
right there in the room.
star map.
And
And did it work?
Betty sketched this
Naturally.
under hypnosis.
Well, the early
claimed
results
the being
were
showed it to
apparently
her, pointed out where they were from.
intriguing.
And she had
Impressive,
zero
maybe, but
astronomy
small
background.
scale.
None whatsoever.
Sketches that
which
looked
makes what happened
surprisingly
next
like a
so
Soviet
intriguing
factory.
and also
Details
so
about a hidden
controversial.
bunker
Marjorie
that
Fish
later
enters
matched
the picture.
spy
Years
photos.
later, yes.
Mm.
An
Enough to
amateur
keep the funding
astronomer, school
flowing,
teacher.
definitely.
She
Okay,
gets
so
hold
it
of
had
this
some
sketch
legs.
and spends
But
ages
then, like
trying
you
to
said,
match it to
things took a
known
turn.
star
A
patterns.
sharp
And
turn,
she
yeah.
claimed
Because
the
it's
match.
one thing to
perfect
sketch a
match,
building
she
you
argued,
shouldn't know
to the
about.
Zeta
It's something else
Reticuli
entirely
system.
when
Binary
you train
stars
military
about
viewers
39
start
light
reporting
years away.
experiences
And boom,
that just
suddenly the aliens
flat
have
out
an
defy
address.
the material
Zeta
world as we
Reticuli.
know it. It
Look,
cemented that
what kind of
specific
things?
alien race into
Well,
UFO lore.
get this.
Gave
Some
it
viewers
tangible,
started
almost
reporting
scientific sounding
energy
origin
beings.
points.
What are you
But hold
beings?
on.
Yeah. Not
That
people, not
correlation,
animals, just
it's
conscious
heavily
energy
disputed,
forms
isn't
that
it?
were
Even
apparently
by people who
watching
take
them
the
while they
case
were doing
seriously.
their
Oh,
remote
absolutely.
viewing.
Watching the
It's
viewers,
probably
okay,
the most
that's creepy.
contentious
Right.
part.
I mean,
Others
she drew a
claimed
bunch
they
of
weren't
dots
just
under
moving across
hypnosis,
space,
under
but
extreme
across
stress.
time.
Yeah.
How
Getting
reliable
glimpses
is
of
that?
ancient
And
history
fished at her
or even
work
future
years
events.
later.
Whoa.
Critics say
Time
you can
travel.
find a pattern in
That's a
almost
better
any
word.
random
There's
scatter
one
of dots
really
if you
famous,
look hard enough,
or infamous
especially with
account.
millions of stars
A
to
viewer
choose from.
insisted they
Post
saw the
hoc
Egyptian
fitting,
pyramids being
essentially.
built.
Right.
But not
Finding
by
the pattern you want to
Egyptians.
find.
That's
By,
the argument.
quote,
Though, to
tall,
be fair,
luminous
Fish claimed the map showed
Luminous
specific
entities
trade routes
building
or
the
something, not
pyramids.
just
I mean,
random
that
points.
sounds like something
But
from
the
a
criticism
fringe
stands.
documentary.
So maybe the map's
Exactly, except
significance
these
isn't
were
whether
reports
it's
coming
actually
from
Zeta
within a
Reticuli.
classified
But how
military
powerfully
intelligence
that idea
program.
shaped
That's what makes you
everything
stop
that
and
followed.
think.
Yeah,
It gave the
definitely.
narrative
Any other examples?
incredible
Oh, yeah.
traction.
Another
A
one, just as strange.
destination.
Which
A
brings
viewer
us
claimed they
crashing back
found
down to
hidden
Earth and the
spacecraft
Cold
under
War.
the ice
Exactly.
in Antarctica.
We have to pivot here
Hidden
because in the early
spacecraft.
60s,
Like UFOs.
weird lights in the
It
sky
seems to
weren't
be the
just
implication.
fodder for
And
sci-fi
guarded,
They were
apparently,
potential
by
national
some kind of
security threats.
consciousness that
Soviet
resisted
attack.
intrusion.
Precisely.
Like a psychic
Any
guard dog,
unidentified
but not a
object was
dog.
taken
Okay,
very
wow.
seriously.
So these reports, were
Which
they
makes
just
the
ignored,
official interest
filed
in the
away as
hills
crazy?
really
Well, officially, a lot of the
If it
stuff
was
was
just,
probably
you know, a
downplayed or
weird
buried,
dream or
classified
hysteria,
deep.
why
But
would the
inside
military
the
care so
project,
much?
Good
the
question.
whispers started.
Sources say
The idea
Air Force
took hold that
officials,
maybe
like
remote
Major
viewing
James
wasn't
McDonald,
just about
did
spying on the
interview them.
Soviets
There
anymore.
were reports
Maybe
of pressure to keep
Maybe it
quiet.
was about
And
making
Project
contact.
Blue Book.
This is where it gets
the Air
even
Force's
stranger, right?
official
The
UFO
connection
study.
or the
They
apparent
classified the
connection
Hill
to
case as unknown,
occult practices.
which was actually
Yes, that's
quite
another
rare.
layer
Most
to this
cases
whole
got
thing that's just
explained away, but
fascinating.
This one, they
People
left it
within the
hanging.
And there were
program
whispers,
apparently
weren't
started
there?
noticing
About
these
radar?
disturbing
Reportedly,
parallels
yes.
between
Anomalous
the
radar
remote
contacts in
viewing
that same
techniques
area
they
that
were
same
developing
night,
and
files that
refining,
apparently got
and
classified or
practices
just
found in
disappeared.
really
cover-up
old
potential
occult
is definitely there.
traditions.
Occult
But then there's
traditions
the
that
even
done.
darker possibility.
Methods
Ultra.
described
Yeah,
in
the
esoteric
CIA's
orders.
mind control programs
Groups
were in
like
full
the
swing in
Hermetic
the
Order of
60s.
the Golden Dawn
Hypnosis,
or the
drugs,
Rosicrucians.
sensory
Okay.
manipulation,
They were looking at
trying to
rituals
alter
for
memory,
astral
create false
projection,
ones.
and when you
Achieving
look at the
trance
details
states,
of the Hill encounter,
intense
the
visualization
parallels are
exercises,
disturbing.
the whole
buzzing
idea
sound
of
vibrating the
separating your
car.
The
consciousness
2 hours of
from your
missing
physical
time.
body.
Wait,
total
so the
blackout.
technique Sunstreak was
And
teaching
the
its
entire
military viewers
detailed
seem
memory
to
only
directly
surfacing under
mirror
guided
these
hypnosis.
ancient mystical
These elements sound
practices. It's quite
uncomfortably
striking
close
when
to
you
the
put
kinds
them
of
side by
techniques
side.
being
So the question
experimented with
becomes,
back then.
was the
Sensory
Pentagon,
overload,
was the DIA
induced amnesia,
inadvertently
suggestive
stumbling
recall.
onto
Specific sound
or maybe
frequencies were even
rediscovering
part of some
kind of
MK
ancient
Ultra
technique,
experiments, aren't they?
something
They were
mystics and
exploring all
secret
sorts of
societies
triggers
have
for
been using for
psychological
centuries.
conditioning.
So
That's
here's the
implication,
alternative theory.
Was this
What if
military
the Hills
intelligence
didn't
program
encounter
actually
aliens,
an
but
unwitting
stumbled
or maybe
onto,
witting
say,
occult
a
experiment?
secret test flight of some
Pretty
advanced
mind-bending
U.S.
thought.
aircraft?
And it didn't stop
And
there,
maybe
did
the
it?
abduction was
experiences got
actually a
darker.
rapid,
They did.
on-the-spot
Some viewers
psychological
started reporting
intervention.
encounters with
A screen
actively
memory
hostile
implanted to
presences.
cover up what they really
Hostile,
saw.
using
How?
trauma
They
and
describe,
hypnosis to
entering
bury
a
a national
location
security
mentally,
leak
projecting
under
their
an
consciousness
unbelievable
there
story about
only to be
aliens.
confronted.
It makes the missing
not by
time
human
less
guards,
cosmic
but by
and
what
more
they
like a
described as
deliberate
shadowy
erasure,
entities,
human caused.
things that
And if
seemed
that's the case,
fully
it
aware of
explains
their
why that
psychic
missing
intrusion
time
and
template
actively
became
tried to
so
block
pervasive.
them or push them out.
Aware
Was
of
it a
them.
real feature
Yeah.
of
Like
genuine
psychic
alien
guards.
encounters
Essentially,
spreading
yes.
naturally?
Which raises
Or was it
a
a
really
successful
profound
psychological
and
warfare
frankly
technique, a meme
unsettling
deliberately
possibility.
or
Which is?
accidentally released
Well,
into
if the
the
human
culture
mind
after
can
that.
actually travel
A story
outside the
template
body,
for capture,
maybe
examination,
those
release.
non-physical realms aren't
Conveniently
empty. Maybe
explaining
other
away other
intelligence is already
potential
live
sightings
there.
or
Maybe they don't
encounters
appreciate
with
visitors.
classified tech.
Exactly.
It's a
Entities
chilling
that
thought.
really didn't want
Either
people
way,
like the Sunstreak
alien or
viewers poking
terrestrial
around. It
secret
makes you
op.
wonder.
The impact on
Was
the hills
Sunstreak
was
opening
immense.
doors
Absolutely
that had been
undeniable.
deliberately
Their
shut
story,
for a very long
whether you
time,
believe it
for a good
literally or
reason.
not,
Okay, so if they were
became the
opening
defining
doors,
narrative.
Yep.
What
John
exactly
Fuller's
did
book,
they
The
find on the
Interrupted
other
Journey,
side?
hit bestseller
Because some of the
lists
most
in
sensational
66.
claims
It took
are
all those
about,
details, the
well,
ship, the
aliens.
beings, the exam,
Extraterrestrial.
and broadcast
Absolutely.
them
This is where the
globally.
story
It
really
basically
goes into
handed
high
everyone
gear.
the script
We
for
actually
what an
have
alien abduction
declassified
should look like.
documents,
It did,
fragments,
but the
hints
personal
really that
cost.
suggest
Huge.
some remote viewing
Betty
sessions were
believed it
specifically
completely till the day
targeting
she
Mars.
died, became
Mars.
an advocate, a
Like,
speaker.
well,
The
Barney
planet Mars.
The
seemed to
planet
break it.
Mars.
His health
There's
failed.
one
He died relatively
particularly
young.
famous
You have to
session
wonder,
often
was he a
cited,
casualty
where a
of
viewer gave
aliens?
this incredibly
Or a
detailed
casualty of
description.
intense
They
psychological
claimed
stress?
they
Maybe
were observing
manipulation
Mars
combined with
millions
the
of
public
years
scrutiny?
ago.
Millions. Tragic either
Millions.
way.
And then
they
there's one
described
more
seeing
layer.
these
if
tall
you step back even
beings
further.
sheltering
The
inside
folklore
massive
connection.
pyramidal
Yeah,
structures.
think about the
Pyramids on
descriptions.
Mars.
Pyramids on Mars
These
as their
beings.
planet was dying.
Large
around them.
heads,
A
huge
civilization
eyes,
facing extinction.
small mouths,
Wow, okay.
often described
That's
as
quite a claim.
telepathic.
It is, and
Okay.
it wasn't just
How
Mars.
different is that
Other
really from
sessions allegedly
descriptions of
targeted
fairies,
well-known
jinn,
UFO
goblins,
hotspots
the
and
little
crash
people,
sites on Earth,
from
including
folklore
all
as
over
well.
the
Of course,
world.
Roswell had to be
Beings
there.
who abduct humans,
And viewers
take them to
reportedly
strange
described
places,
seeing
mess
non-human
with their
bodies,
memories,
alien
return them
artifacts,
hours or
all
days
hidden
later
away
feeling
deep
changed.
inside classified
So maybe
government
it's not
facilities.
spaceships and aliens.
So not
but
just
something
seeing things far away,
older,
but seeing
archetypal.
things
It's
the
a
government was
possibility
actively
that
hiding.
the phenomenon
That's the
itself is
claim.
ancient.
It suggests
maybe
the viewers
interdimensional
weren't just
contact, and
passive
we just interpret it
observers. They
through
were
our current
potentially
cultural lens.
uncovering evidence
In the
of an
60s, that
alien
lens
presence
was
that was
technology,
being
space
actively
travel.
concealed.
So the
And then
experience
there's
got
Wright
framed
Patterson
as
Air Force
aliens
Base,
in a
right?
UFO.
Always
Instead of
comes up
fairies
in
in a
these
hidden
stories.
mound.
Perhaps.
Wright Patterson.
It suggests
Another
the
abduction
chilling
narrative
account
might
involved
be a
a
modern
viewer who
retelling
claimed
of a
they
very old
psychically
human
entered
experience of the
a hidden
uncanny.
chamber
So wrapping
deep
this up for you, the
underground
listener,
there.
where does this leave us? The Betty and Barney Hill
holding
case is still
biological
officially
specimens that were
ambiguous.
completely
Frozen in
unlike
uncertainty,
anything known
it
on
hangs
Earth.
there
Alien
perfectly
bodies,
balanced
basically.
between
That's
genuine
the
personal
strong
trauma,
implication.
potential
And another
cosmic
viewer,
encounter,
possibly
and maybe
targeting
a
the
very
same
earthly, very
location
dark
or a
secret.
similar one,
And that leads
claimed
to the
they
final
witnessed some
provocation,
kind
really.
of
Right.
psychic network.
If intelligence
Something
agencies
connecting
were
human
involved,
minds
what was
to-
their end game?
Well,
Were
something
they
else.
scrambling to
Something
cover up
beyond our
real
world,
alien
out among the
contact they
stars?
couldn't
A
explain
psychic
or
network
control?
connecting us
Option
to
A.
aliens.
Or
That
option
was the
B,
report.
were
So you
they
look at all these
subtly
accounts together,
encouraging
Mars,
the alien
Roswell, Wright
interpretation,
Patterson's
maybe
psychic
even
networks.
seeding it?
It paints a very
Using
different
the
picture
alien
than just
abduction
spying on the
narrative as the
Soviets.
perfect
Completely
smokescreen
different.
to
If you
hide
take
their
these
own
reports at
advanced
face
aircraft
value,
tests,
even just
or worse,
partially,
the
unethical
implication
psychic
is huge.
experiments.
Disinformation to
Sunstreak
cover terrestrial
might have
secrets.
started as
Which is the
espionage,
deeper
but it seems
conspiracy.
to have pivoted.
Real aliens
It became
were a
about
manufactured
preparing
myth
for
to hide
contact with
human
non-human
actions.
intelligence.
It forces you to
Or
question
maybe
the
more
nature of
cynically,
reality
about
itself,
making sure that contact
especially when
remained a
faced with the
secret,
truly unknown.
kept far away from
The
the public
unresolved
eye.
mystery of Betty and
But the
Barney
theories
Hill
don't even
shows
stop
just
at
how
just
blurry the
ETs
line
from
can
other
be
planets,
between
do
a
they?
private,
Some people take it
traumatic
even further.
experience
That's
and a
right.
powerful,
There's a whole
perhaps
other
even
branch of
engineered
theory
collective
suggesting
myth.
Sunstreak
When the
wasn't
solid
just
facts
encountering
dissolve,
extraterrestrials,
what stories
but
do our
potentially
minds or perhaps others
interdimensional
construct in
beings.
their place?
Interdimensional, like